Today I wanted to talk about a couple things that you can do inside your home to practice your photography, get better, take it as a little bit of a challenge since we're all quarantined right now, to take what you have in your house and make something really cool out of it. We're gonna be using things that everyone has access to. In my case, I'm gonna be using a plant from inside my house. My fiance has these. You could use any number of things, anything laying around your house. If you have any greenery, it works really cool and adds a little pop to it. You have a little bit of life literally in your photo, and also using the sun. Everyone has access to the sun. Trying to make this the least amount of complication as possible. So harsh sunlight coming through the window is not ideal for most scenarios whenever you're trying to take photos. In this scenario, I'm gonna solve that problem for you. We're gonna use a tactic called exposing for the highlights.
Protect my highlights, protect my highlights. Protect your highlights at the top end of your exposure. Protecting those highlights right at the top, protect your highlights. Always protect their highlights. Start by first protecting our highlights. Protect your highlights, protect your highlights.
You take something that's very, very bright, in this case, sunlight coming through the window, and you expose so that that light shining onto the object is correctly exposed. That leaves everything else falling into darkness, lends itself to shooting in your kitchen or in your living room. It kind of makes everything else kind of blacked out and gives it a moody sort of tone, and you can accentuate that whenever you go to edit the photo. So I'm gonna run you through how I shot this, a little bit of my process, and I'm also gonna show you how I edited some of the images to get the final product. So let's get to it. What are you doing? As soon as I went to film this, the sun went behind the clouds. So I'm gonna be shooting these photos with a Sony a6500 and a Sony 18-135 lens. It's a zoom lens. It goes from a 3.5 aperture to a 5.6 aperture. What I like to do is whenever I'm shooting, I'll back up and zoom the lens in, which gives a little bit of that compression. The perks of shooting everything at home right now, right? One thing we're gonna do to help us get a little bit of depth out of the image is to step back and zoom that lens in to where you get a tighter image. You also wanna remember to maybe try out different angles. Like I took the plant and rotated it a little bit a couple times. See how the light was playing with the leaves whenever I turned it a little bit more. Another thing I did was try spraying some water onto the plants. Maybe you can get them like sliding down or hanging off the end. And I really like the added texture and dimension that the water on the leaves added. Another thing I like to do if I'm shooting like a whole set of photos like this in one sitting with the same lighting coming through, I like to set my white balance, like set it to where it's good and lock it off. Thank you guys for watching the video. I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your day to spend with me. Hope you learned something, or maybe this will inspire you to try something a little bit different just around your house with the things you have available to you. Think creatively, think outside the box. If you do any of the images from this or take inspiration from this and make something out of it, tag me on Instagram or Twitter. I would love to see it if you guys happen to take this challenge and do it for yourself. Appreciate you taking the time to watch. Hope that you and your family are staying safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.